Welcome back to Division I Rejects. I'm Kobe Manzo, joined by two large humans tonight.
We have names. But thanks.
We do have names. Hey.
Jack Chappelle and Trevor Lee in the studio tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, here we go, fellas. Glad to have you. Where's that clapping coming from? Don't know. Okay. Well, it's episode 128 of Division I Rejects. September 14th. We'll be joined here shortly by the man who I guess is probably the best tight end in Division II football, boys. Kind of big time. Devon Garrison. He was AP All-American last year and was, I think, second in receiving yards. And this year is poised to have a super big year for Pittsburg State. So he joins us here shortly. But otherwise, we've got Week 3 game previews, Division II, Division III-wise. And kind of an interesting twist. We did, if you follow us on the socials, you already saw it. But the games of the week that we kind of picked, we had AI generate, what would you call it, like a mascot battle between the two of them?
That's a good way of wording it.
Yeah, I couldn't think of
a mascot matchup.
Yeah, I like it.
Face off.
Face off.
Like duel.
That's what I was trying to go for. Duel.
A lot of synonyms being thrown around, but we did. So we'll check out those AI renderings here kind of shortly. But a lot of great games to cover. Both Division II and Division III. These guys will be around for the D2 side of things. Jimmy Martin will be around later to talk all things Division III football with us.
Jimbo.
Otherwise, got some good stories for us. We had a quarterback at the D2 level last week. I don't know how I missed this, by the way. He ran for 3 touchdowns, threw a touchdown, and caught a touchdown. This is a crazy stat line, and his name is not Taysom Hill, actually.
That'd be weird if Taysom Hill was playing in a D2 football
game. If he did play, that'd be kind of concerning.
Otherwise, there is a new Division II HBCU Bowl. The CIAA and the SEAC have, I guess, not joined, but they've partnered on a new bowl game that will be featured later on, I guess, in this postseason that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Well, I've got a question. Go ahead.
How would that work? Like,
how do you mean?
Is it 2 teams that don't make the playoffs?
Yes, typically. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a lot of them at the D3 level as well. I know there's one between the GMAC and the GLVC. I think it's the something Crossroads Bowl. So like I think Hillsdale played in it last year.
It's like the second best in the league. Usually.
Absolutely, because whoever doesn't make the playoffs ends up playing in that. Yeah. So I know like last year you talk about like the Culver's Isthmus Bowl. That was River Falls ended up winning that one. I know that's the WEAC and some other conference. They take, I guess, the best team that doesn't make the playoffs, they give them another game. So it's kind of just, it's neat.
Yeah.
Cool idea.
Sure. Isn't that crazy that River Falls, they're probably, the 4th best team in that league? And they got to play, so that means 3 of the other teams made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You're right. And this year, you've got 4 in the top 25 right now. If the season ended tonight, they would all be in the playoffs. So
for sure.
Pretty cool. But we'll talk about all that and more. We've got a specialist group. It's an FCS video, but I made an exception for D1 Rejects. It's a specialist group running around campus seeing if regular average Joes can make kicks. It's pretty funny. We got a video to react to. But as always, watch this episode on YouTube. If you are, don't forget the timestamps, bottom of the screen. Fast forward to any part of the episode. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Timestamps will be in the description on those platforms as well. Follow us on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, hit it up, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Let's go right to the conversation with Devon. Joining us on the show tonight, he was an AP All-American in 2022, the 6'6", 240-pound tight end from Pittsburg State. We're in Week 2. The dude's already got some highlight reel catches. It's Devon Garrison. What's going on, man?
What's going on? Good to be here.
Not a whole lot, brother. Now, looking up all these guys before the show. You're 6'6", 240 on the roster. You're like 5-10 pounds different on another publication. You gain an inch here. You lose an inch there. Where are they getting these tangibles from, dude?
I don't know. I call myself 6'5", 240. Okay. They like to add 6'6", but, whatever they want to call it.
Nothing wrong with a low roster height. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like over here at Northern, like when I was still on the squad, like I work with all of our SIDs and things like that. So I'm about 5'9" in person. On that roster, fuck that. I'm 5'11". Oh, yeah, no, big time. Big time. I hear you, man. But let's talk about this past weekend for you guys a little bit. And I was texting Trace, and he just said, I'm basically like, I'm wanting an explanation because after this, you guys look at a squad coming off an 11-0 year, very big expectations for you guys. You certainly have not underperformed, but looking at halftime against Fort Hays, and you're like, holy shit, like what's going on here? Trace simply said, he said, man, we're a second-half team, apparently. Apparently we're just a second-half team, man. Talk to me about that.
I mean, that's all great and all, but I think we still have some things to figure out.
Sure.
Within the whole deal. I think this week we're going to really look to try and get things going early on and then continue our second half momentum. Um, I mean, I feel like that second half was great. I think a lot of people were kind of frustrated in that first half and still trying to get in the swing of things, and then eventually it all started clicking for us.
Yeah, big time, dude. And I put out on our Twitter at D1 Rejects, I was like, at halftime, I put out a little upset alert tweet. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. I may as well post it. This might be a freaking game. I don't know if that was circulating around the locker room at halftime or something, and that was the fire that y'all needed, or what?
I mean, I saw it after the game. I'm like, probably not, but it's all good. I feel it.
That's funny, man. In my head, I'm like, man, they did not age well. But you know what? Sometimes you got to leave them up there. You got to just leave them up there. Ain't no going back and cleaning stuff up. But you were a big part of that comeback. Finished with 90 yards and a touchdown and really a third quarter explosion for that offense. I think it was 20 points in the third quarter, and you went on to score 2 more touchdowns in the fourth. You talked about you guys started clicking in the second half. Was it something in particular, or was just altogether things just started falling into place for you guys offensively?
I think it's just kind of a mental thing sometimes. It takes maybe a minute for people to relax, get into a game versus just, going out there doing their thing. With our guys, like, I feel like we all know what we're doing, what we're supposed to do out there. It's just going out there, executing, being relaxed and comfortable with what we have to do.
I hear you. Now, coming up this next week, you talk about getting off and getting early in one of these games. You're going to have to do that. You're going on the road, Central Missouri. They're coming off a really commanding win over UCO. And that's a team where, if you don't get off to the right start, it's going to be hard to dig yourself out of a hole against, is it the Mules and like the Jennies? They got like a split. They got one of them split things going on over there. But that's a squad that it would be tough to dig yourself out of a hole from just because of the quality of team. So I'd imagine, like you said, that's been kind of the rhetoric this week is like we have to come out and start extremely fast. There can't be this like honeymoon period in the first half.
For sure. I mean, we've heard all week how much of an explosive offense they are and how good they are, in which I agree. They've put up a good amount of numbers these first couple games. It's just about us doing what we know we can do and going out there and executing, and I think we'll get the job done.
It's pretty good coach speak from your brother. You're trained well. I don't know if you can take the cue cards out from behind the monitor. You know what I mean? That'd be good. No, but that's the right answer. You're saying all the right things. That's what you're supposed to say. But we talk about more of the fun side of that comes with being a Gorilla, being on this squad. Talk about the Gorilla walk before the games, man. I didn't get to ask Trace about it. I totally forgot when we had him on here. But everything that goes into a game day at the Jungle, right? It feels like that's got to be one of the more premier game day experiences in the Division II world. Tell me about that, man.
Absolutely. I think it's just an electric experience. Like, it's something I don't think a lot of other D2s, D3s, and maybe even D1s really can compare to. Where you have almost like the whole town lined up, cheering you on, smacking you on the head, getting you ready to go as you're entering into the stadium. There's nothing really like it. And then once the game gets going, it's a packed house every weekend. Our fans are like nothing else. They'll talk smack with the best of them, and yeah, it gets rowdy in there.
I love it, dude. I feel like I'm trying to think of, obviously there are some big Power 5 schools. Michigan State always does one, South Carolina and Clemson, those squads that have that long walk into the stadium and there's just people everywhere. Is that, that kind of energy. But for you guys to be able to do that on this level, like, it might seem like a small thing, but I mean, I guarantee recruits, like, if I'm recruiting there, I'm like, get your ass in the back of the line, come through here with us, and then see if you want to come play here or not, right?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it was like I was getting recruited. I was always like, all right, if I'm going to go D2, I'm going to go to a Minnesota school. And then I found out about like all the Pittsburg State facilities and what their game day is like and their winning pass. And I'm like, I want to be a part of that. So that's what we got.
Absolutely, dude. And talk about that pass a little bit. Like I said earlier, coming off an 11-0 year, MIAA championship, obviously didn't finish how you wanted to, right, as far as the playoffs are concerned. And I wanted to touch on because, I feel like you hear some guys talk about, especially in the NFL, like, can we fast forward to the playoffs? Guys in those teams that are going to end up being in that situation. I get a little smile out of you already. But because you want to take that next jump, that next step as a program. how do you, as a team that has some really marquee games on the schedule, Central Missouri being only one of them, how do you, I guess, so to speak, keep the blinders on and keep guys from looking that far forward and really treating every opponent like this is a playoff game? Because at the Division II level, all of a sudden you lose a game and you're not guaranteed anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year I know it was really tough for us because we built that thing up so like from the ground up, and we really got to where we wanted to be really. And then losing in the fashion that we did in such a tight game, and then them going on to win it all was tough. And then having to restart again, going into spring ball and through summer and all that. I mean, you just got to look at it as one day at a time, really. It is tough because like you were so close, but I think we have an opportunity now to reload and get back to where we hopefully want to end up.
Yeah. For sure. One more shot. This is last shot for you, right? As far as, making a run at the Natty this year.
Last shot.
How does that change the mindset a little bit, especially, being around the guys and just like, hey, motherfucker, like get in line. Like this is my last time to do this. Like this, no more goofing around. Not that you were before, right? Not that you were before, but like no more half-assing this stuff. Like this is it. All or nothing for this squad, man. Buy in.
I mean, for me, these past couple of years that I've even gotten a shot to make the playoffs and make a run at it. For me, it hasn't been about myself at all. It's been about those seniors and giving those guys the opportunity to try and make it to the playoffs and then go on to win a national championship. I've had a really good group in front of me leading the way and showing me like the right things to do. And it absolutely crushed me when we didn't make it 2 years ago to the playoffs and losing the way we did then. And then last year, not being able to get it done for those guys either. It's been tough, and now I just want to try and do it for the group of seniors we have now and hopefully get it done.
Quality answer. Seems part of my job too is with you guys, because like how many media or like shows have you done in your time at Pitt State over there?
Not a lot. I mean, we'll talk like to the media a little bit, do some weekly questions, but that'd be about it.
Yeah, so that's my job, is come on here, be a little obnoxious, start to lead you a little astray with that last question, talking about you. You know what you did? You took it, flipped it around. We do it for the seniors over here. The Gorillas do it for the seniors. You're good, man. You're on good track, because hopefully you're playing somewhere in a couple years. You're going to have people that are a lot more obnoxious than myself and start leading you down these paths. That was good, dude. But talk about this Gorilla offense. Where do you guys feel you're at right now? And I guess more importantly, what is the ceiling for this offense, and in your eyes, what you guys are capable of over there?
I mean, I think we got playmakers all over the field, and we haven't really gotten to where we want to be yet. You look at Chad and what he's done in the past, just a winner. Colby Katzis, freshman of the year last year.
Dog.
Trace,
Dog.
Basically the Trent Williams of D2 football. I know we call
Travis Kelce. I love that, dude. That's awesome.
I mean, we have a three-headed monster in our backfield. It's just like we got playmakers all over the field. It's just about us going out there and executing each and every week and getting the job done, really.
I love it. I am going to ask you about you a little bit, but I'm not going to tell you to make a pro comparison. It's way too basic of a question. We're not stooping that low today. But a pro tight end you like watching, maybe especially like one of the younger guys the last couple of years that's made their way into the league.
I mean, for me, it's not really a younger guy. I always kind of compared myself to like a Jimmy Graham, a guy who can just go up and make plays up and down the field. I love just going deep and just making plays that way, and then the fade ball. But I feel like I'm a guy who can run really any route in the route tree and then go out and make any type of block you need, really.
Unicorn, man. That's what they call you guys. You know that?
Yeah, for sure.
You like that?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not going to away from it.
I feel like that's a love or hater deal. I don't know if you can be kind of in between.
I mean, my dad had a unicorn tattoo growing up, so I guess I'll love it. But
Wait, what?
Yeah, he had unicorn.
Say, do we get a story or?
Yeah, it was growing up. I think he was young, just wanted to get a tattoo. Had it right here, and then eventually got it covered up with a Chicago Bears tattoo. So,
that's actually put the unicorn back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. But That's all I got for you tonight, brother. I appreciate you hopping on here quick, talking a little ball. I'm excited to see you guys continue to go forward. I mean, I talked about some of, Central Missouri this week, obviously a big one, but then you look down the road, man. And again, you don't get to look down the road. I get to because I'm not the one suiting up on Saturday for you guys. But Emporia State, Northwest Missouri State, you got other Missouri Southern, those type of squads that are down there. So we'll definitely this won't be the last time we talk, my man.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate you having me.
All right, Devon, have a good one, man. Thank you, Devon, for coming on. Appreciate having him. We'll stay in the Division II realm of things, guys. But these games we're going to talk about, we got a little bit of a twist, and that being the AI-generated matchups that we have. So I guess we can probably start with this first one, that being Assumption, who is currently number 23 in the country. All these rankings we talk about are according to D2Football.com. It's easy to just keep them all to one ranking. So number 23, Assumption. At number 4, Grand Valley, we've got the Greyhounds perched on like this cliff overlooking the water. And if you look really closely on the socials, you zoom in, you've got, what's his name? The Louis, is it Louis the Laker for Grand
Louis
Valley?
The Laker,
It is. So Louis is actually perched on that little pirate ship in the cove over there.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I can't even tell.
No, it's pretty.
On the left side?
No, in the pirate ship, right?
Yeah, in the ship. It's
Well,
a kind of a smaller
it's not
detail.
a pirate ship. I guess it could be a pirate ship. He's
The
a
prompt
Laker.
that I gave Photoshop said black pirate ship, so that's what it gave me.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
He's a Laker.
And I would assume
Yes.
they're the Greyhounds, Assumption.
they are. You would assume
That's a
correctly
good-
on that.
It's a good assumption.
Okay. And this one's already off to an outstanding start.
Sorry, I had to
That
bring-
was incredible.
Here we go.
That was incredible. That was good.
Where's Kobe Mandel's round of applause when you need it?
Yeah. All of these little renderings I'm going to show you are actually just made in Photoshop, which is really sweet. It's using the generative fill tool that utilizes their like Firefly artificial intelligence that literally I'm giving these things prompts. There's some actual elements in here, but 90% of what you're seeing, I just make a box and I tell Photoshop what to insert. And it goes forever. So
You just give all your secrets away, though.
it's open source software. I mean, it's not anything
might have to
crazy.
cut that.
But let's talk about the game itself here a little bit. Assumption at Grand Valley, another nationally ranked opponent for GVSU. What a way to start your career, man. If you're Scott Wooster, you go 2 mines, you come back home for a nationally ranked CSU Pueblo team, and now you're hosting the Greyhounds, another top 25 team.
I just don't think this is going to be much of a game, to be honest with you.
I would agree with you.
didn't even know.
Assumptions in the NE10?
They're picked, I believe, actually second in the NE10 behind New Haven.
Yeah, I don't see him even have much of a fighting chance.
I saw clips of the Grand Valley game from last week, and they're fast. They play fast, so Assumption would have to definitely.
They're gonna have to match. Yeah, they have to
they
match.
have to match that intensity. Match, and I didn't even know what Assumption was until 5 minutes ago, sitting down. So
Could have assumed.
Yeah,
but a question mark for the Lakers heading into this one, the quarterback situation, right? I guess I could have texted one of our guys over there, but I don't really pressure them for information like that. But is Cade Peterson 100% for this game? Because he went out and had to do concussion protocol and sat out, if you remember, most of the second half.
It was a nasty hit.
And they got flags. Yeah. But
I could picture him being out.
The second string's down too.
The second string, Avery Moore, is also hurt. So we saw Alex Thole had to come in, and
who actually played pretty darn well.
But Cade Peterson, Alex Thole, they're still definitely he's a redshirt freshman. That was his first snaps. So if Thole is the starter for them, all of a sudden that game could be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think.
But it did prove if Cade Peterson does go down,
yes,
they have other options.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And what helps a quarterback like that is when you have a run game like GVSU had in that last one. Tariq Reed was all over the place, and more importantly, that offensive line was just
that offensive line
dogging them at the line of scrimmage. So that's a big piece for them, and that's something I think Assumption will definitely have to match, is that size and that interior, in the trenches right there. But a big piece for me, first of all, Brian Kelly graduated from Assumption. Kind of a cool little piece. So that might have been what fostered the initial connection to get a game contract done. But for me, for GV, this is a great schedule because Assumption, when they're a nationally ranked opponent, so picking up, if they can go and pick off a win off of Assumption here, they're a nationally ranked opponent, looks good on their schedule, looks good on their resume when it comes to the playoffs. Also, Assumption's going to win a lot of games this year. They're in the NE10. They're not going to play, New Haven, obviously a great squad. There's a couple teams in there that'll give them a challenge, but for the most part, they're going to run through the NE10 and win a lot of games this year. So if Grand Valley can pick up this win.
New Haven, Assumption, and isn't it Southern Connecticut?
Yeah, Southern Connecticut had a pretty good game against Shepherd this last week.
Those are like the three big or the better teams.
I would say 1A, 1B, and 2. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think if Assumption can even like put up a decent fight, it shows like people will start looking at them like there's a pretty good team.
Yeah,
you know
people would like Jack might actually know about him after this weekend.
Yeah.
Huh?
And not just make assumptions about them.
All right, we need to move on.
Maybe one time too many. I apologize, Greyhound fans. But we can talk a little bit about the next one, and that one being probably the game, fellas, that I'm most excited about. Now, if we go scroll down here, you can see a trio of English Bulldogs coming down the trail towards the Grizzly Bear. This is my favorite, like as far as the actual graphics go. This is awesome. And the prompt I gave here for these Bulldogs, you make your little box in Photoshop, and I literally told it, I said 3 mean, scary English Bulldogs walking towards the camera.
Yep, that looks like it.
And they're not scary. They're kind of adorable, to be honest with you.
There's nothing scary about them.
There's no snarl. There's no teeth showing. Nothing.
Sarge.
It does. It looks like Sarge up there. But, jokes aside, this render, Ferris State going to play at Division I FCS Montana, who is a really respectable Division I squad. We talked about some D2 teams that upset Division I FCS schools last week, and teams like Delaware State and Mississippi Valley and some of those squads. No knock to them. They are not on the level that this Montana team is on.
I think they're ranked 12 in FCS, I want to say.
Yeah, somewhere between 12 and 15 right in there.
Yeah, that's the number in my head.
Yep.
But
that's big. It's a big-time game for
I
them.
think it'll be close. I think it'll be a close game.
I don't think it'll be as close as people think it is. I don't know.
So some notes for me.
Level of football.
Ferris State, number 1 in Division II right now. Back-to-back national champions, at FCS Montana. The big thing, couple takeaways. Ferris, not been playing a very clean brand of football. You look at this last game where they're trailing Ashland at half. You know why? A big part of that, almost 200 yards in penalties for the Bulldogs last week. That's sloppy football. Coach Anise will not have that over there. That's not their MO. No. And they definitely need to clean that up, because if you do that, you're going to find yourself out of this game probably very quickly. You cannot shoot yourself in the foot for this type of game. And now, another key takeaway for me, Montana, they've not had a true test yet. They beat Butler in week 1, which is a glorified NAIA program. I'm not even going to say respectfully, because that's just what it is to me. But Ferris State is a lot better than that Butler team. Ferris State is also a lot better than the team they beat next, Utah Tech, 43-13. Ferris State would handle both those teams easily. So I think Montana should have a good inkling of going into this game knowing that Ferris State's going to be a solid competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to look over them by any means.
No.
They shouldn't.
I don't think they should look over them by any means.
People talk, too, a lot about how, you make that move up from Division III, Division II to Division I finally. What's the one thing that changes the most?
Speed.
Trenches. I think has been the most common answer the last 5 years or so. Is the big guys in the middle. Our guys across from you are bigger, meaner, tougher, and more disciplined. That's, to me, what it's felt like. And I think one of the latest people to say that was actually Shadur Sanders, right? Yeah. Talking about his move up from Jackson State to Colorado. Didn't he say something along those lines?
He said the biggest difference for me is the D-line are just bigger and faster.
Yep. Yeah.
He said, that's the biggest difference that he notices.
So, for me, that's something that, looking at Ferris's play style, the smash mouth type of GLIAC football that we've seen from them, can that stack up against an FCS team that should be pretty physically imposing at the point of attack, at the line of scrimmage? If they can do that, good on them. Ferris does have, they've got size. I don't want to make it seem like it's David versus fucking Goliath.
No, they're a different brand of football too, though. I mean, they got dudes up front. They run a different type of offense than people are used to seeing nowadays.
Yeah, they technically still run the veer.
It's a weird.
And the center snaps the ball with 2 hands. You remember seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, and the thing is, Ferris State's got probably 15 to 20 guys that have all played at the Division I level.
That's a great point too. This is not a D2 team from some homegrown squad from Western Michigan. You know what I mean?
No, this is the team. I mean, this is the team in Division II football. So
yeah, that's a great point too. These guys have all, I shouldn't say all, a lot of these guys have competed at that level in some way, shape, or form, and
or go on to go play somewhere.
Very true. Or go about a Connor Neer we had on the show is now one of the linebackers over at Oklahoma.
I mean, if you
they go to the next level and they get paid like
Sealer. Talking for Sealer.
Yeah.
You got Sealer on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
38 mil.
38 mil. Yeah.
Chuck Bittner, one of the columnists for D2Football.com, had a great line. He did a little preview. Definitely check out his column. I know I liked it. I might have to retweet on the D2 or D1 Rejects account. But his quote is that this is very much like Appalachian State playing Michigan in 2007. That was his quote. Appalachian State and Michigan comparison. Like that's kind of that's the way he looked at it a little bit, because
Michigan was a lot better than Appalachian State though in that point, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely. But that's what he's saying. Like for Montana though, like this is a lose-lose. Like when you schedule this, you know, they're a Division II team. You're paying them to come out there. Your fans obviously expect a pretty large win, and if you do that, okay, you beat a Division II team.
No, yeah.
But all of a sudden, you lose this one. You're like, what? You know what I mean? For a more casual football fan, seeing the title associated with that.
What's the point of them? See, I don't even know what's the point of scheduling a game like this.
For Ferris, I think it's pretty obvious. Coach Neese actually
Ferris
touched on it.
It's easy. Yeah. I mean, like, you get money, you get actually a shot at winning the game. So you can go beat a Division I team and make, you know,
his biggest thing is actually the atmosphere and like trying to replicate. I really liked his quote from practice the other day. He spoke with the media and kind of, you know, botchly try and repeat it, but he said it's very hard to replicate a playoff atmosphere in the regular season. Now, you get to like an Anchor Bone Classic, I'm sure that feels like the playoffs, but
that's rowdy.
It's very hard to replicate that. So if you can go to a Division I stadium like Montana, which
is an incredible stadium, by the way.
And it gets rowdy. Beautiful. Those people will show up and show out. If you can get in that environment and get a lot of these new guys, they have accustomed to that style and that type of environment. Huge benefit for them moving down the road.
Yeah, I don't get why Montana would want to play in this, but I understand Ferris State. 100%.
That is a great question. What
benefits them? Because they think they get a win.
So lose.
I don't know. I really don't.
You're
I really
paying
don't know.
someone to come, and they might beat you.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
When you put it like that. Next squad, though, I want to talk a little bit about is this giant orange critter right here. That's West Florida, who's number 6 currently in Division II. They're playing at Florida A&M. FAMU, I guess they're more probably associated as. So we've got the two little Argos there trying to take on this massive serpent in the jungle. I love it. The one is already like throwing his shield on the ground. It's like, I'm over this shit. Yeah,
this is kind of cool, though, because isn't FAMU D1 too?
They are.
Yeah.
So it's like the little D2 program trying to beat the the big Division I program. That's what
Absolutely.
It was like. The first thing I thought of.
Yeah, I love it. And that's kind of the story of this. Now, I will say these two teams did scrimmage a couple years ago, and supposedly the Argos had got the better half of FAMU in that one. And, you know, if it were a real game, I guess would have won pretty handedly in that, which is just something to note. But obviously, I think that was 2 years ago. New year, new squads, a lot of different pieces, brand new coach for UWF, right? Like there's a lot of different things that change between now and then. I agree. Okay. I think if there's one upset that's going to happen this week, I think it's these guys. Yeah. You look at what they've done the past 2 weeks. Huge wins over at Kentucky Wesleyan and McKendree.
Not maybe the greatest opponents, but they were big wins.
Took care of
wins,
business. Yeah. And it wasn't like I talked with Devon Garrison earlier about they got behind against Fort Hays State, a team that they should have just came out and pounced on. You know what I mean? West Florida has come out, they've gotten ahead early, and they've put these games away in like very consistent fashion.
And quick, very quick.
Defensively, you look at some of the transfers they've brought in. Offensively, Pee Wee Jarrett is there. They've got some talent in the wide receiver room, a lot of pieces back on that offensive line. Their head coach is not new to this scene at all. He's already coached there. He played there. Yeah. I mean, things are stacking up for them very nicely. This would be a nice notch on the schedule for the Argos. Yeah. I guess my one knock against West Florida, though, they haven't been tested. And I think there's a double-edged sword to that. In that one, we haven't seen what they could do against an opponent like this. But two, I think another great point made by Bittner in his article is that we may have not seen the full hand from West Florida. They could still have a ton of tricks and different things up their sleeve because they haven't been forced to use that stuff yet.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's also, they put everybody away, like you said, fashionably. I mean, they just put everything, putting teams down. You look at a team like, Ferris State, they beat all the teams they're supposed to, but they haven't done it like by, 20, 30 points like they probably should have. West Florida, they're putting people away.
It's like the thing that coaches always say, like playing to the level of your opponent.
Absolutely.
They have not done that.
That's real.
And West Florida has not done that at whatsoever.
And that happens a lot. And so looking at FAMU and their schedule, they took a 28-10 win over Jackson State in week 1 in SWAC play, which is pretty pretty solid win for that program. Was that before or after the rapper came in, did the music video in the locker room? You remember that?
No, I actually don't.
You guys did not see that?
No.
There was this whole, like one of his boys, like a rapper, and they brought him in. They shot a whole music video, and the whole thing, like, got suspended. Like the football program, like all operations got suspended for a little bit. It was this whole deal.
This year?
I think pretty sure. Yeah.
No way.
Pretty sure it was this year.
I think I would have heard about that.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
crazy.
I'll follow up on it in a second. But week 2, they lose 24-38 to USF. So, kind of a middle of the road FBS squad there. So I think this could be a pretty fun one. This could be a pretty fun one to watch. I'm excited to see that. Moving on, though, we got one more fun little render here to look at. And this one, up in the mountains, Colorado. That's Western Colorado at number 21, CSU Pueblo. And we've got the Mountaineers, and then obviously the Wolves, the Thunder Wolves technically, but I don't know if Photoshop knows what a Thunder Wolf is. So we just stuck.
I don't think anyone knows what a Thunder Wolf is.
That's a great question.
Like,
I don't think the Thunder Wolf isn't very scary.
No. Talking about the logo or the actual wolves in the picture?
Logo. I would not. If a Thunder Wolf came at me, I don't know what a Thunder Wolf is, but if a wolf in general came at me, then yeah.
when they howl,
yeah,
just thunder occurs. I think that's what happens.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Wow. That'd be pretty intimidating too, though.
It would be.
This looks like an old school movie.
Yeah,
right.
It's like a Western.
Western.
Just a bad old school Western movie with some no name.
Why is it a bad one? Why is it a bad one?
Have you ever seen a good one with like this? Like this, they spent all their money on the cover for you to come watch it, and they just put nothing into the.
That's funny, dude. I had to for the prompt here, I kept trying to say fur trader, pioneer, Western, you know what I mean? And it kept getting it wrong, and I couldn't get something that hit right. And then I added 1700s in front of the prompt. Immediately came out like this, and it was I got what I think is a mountaineer.
Yeah, I would say that's.
He doesn't have a red beard.
It's more like a cowboy, but yeah.
Well, what's the difference between a cowboy and a mountaineer?
They're like cousins.
Cowboy, baby.
Opening league play, though, with these two, I guess my biggest thing is that these are some serious RMAC implications. Mine's obviously the top dog, it appears, in this conference, but I guess the biggest point I want to get across is that either of these two teams could certainly end up making a run for this league and coming out on top. And, it's not necessarily a battle for second place. I think it's kind of the association these two squads have right now. Western Colorado has been out to a very hot start, could certainly make the argument to be a top 25 team at this moment. So whoever comes out of this is definitely in second place, but could certainly be in a couple weeks the driver's seat. I guess the right expression, right? The driver's seat of that RMAC over there. So
I liked the way that CSU Pueblo looked, though.
They did. They look good, dude. Chance Fuller, that quarterback for them, just turned it on when he needed it, and that offense was...
Their offense is electric.
Very opportunistic team in general, though. You talk about the block field goal, pick six. They kept making plays, and all of a sudden they tie that game up, and it was...
At a certain point, those plays aren't just of chance. That's people just working their ass off.
Absolutely, dude.
These guys out there just grinding, wanting to win.
They're playing very...
I guarantee you that's all you need to win.
Yeah.
They're playing complementary football. Too.
Yes. And it's I think we talked with Nick Thomas. They say this a lot, but with Ferris State, making your own luck. I think that was kind of his quote, making your own luck, being out there and doing that for yourself and just being opportunistic in that way. Yeah. But the Mountaineers certainly haven't been very flashy offensively. I think they average 250 yards on offense, but they've been getting the job done. They've picked up a couple really quality wins over some LSC Lone Star Conference teams. Week 1, 28-6 over West Texas A&M. That was a team picked on the upper half of that conference in the preseason polls. And then to go back at home, 35-27 over UTPB, that being Texas Permian Basin. That's the same squad that just put up 90-some points.
Yeah, so, they were on a little bit of a winner's high, I bet, too.
I think they might have been.
I mean, you beat a team 96-0.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're on a bit of a winner's high.
Still.
We've seen some crazy scores like that.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I've never in my life seen a 90-0 game, and I've seen 3 or 4 of them already this year. Man. That's outrageous.
It is. But 2 quality wins for that Western Colorado team. Would not be surprised. Would not be incredibly surprised if they go in there and pick up a W, but that defense has been playing pretty well. They've been pretty stingy on that side of the ball. So that's pretty big time. Otherwise, though, a couple other quick notes here on some games. Wayne State, that being Wayne State University in Michigan, at number 19, Indianapolis. A decent amount of hype around this new Wayne State squad. Tyrone Wheatley at the helm. Can they pull off the big upset on the road?
I don't know how.
I don't know a ton about each team. I don't know. I remember watching Indianapolis last year a little bit.
My big thing on Indianapolis was we remember what happened last time that the Indy, number 8 in the country at the time, played a GLIAC team.
They got killed.
They get routed 38-14 against unranked SVSU. And that, not to say the history will repeat itself, but for me, Indy has just been inconsistent. And when you come out of a conference like the GLVC that does not have the strength of schedule that a GLIAC or
and Wayne
the
State's
NSIC.
been playing competitive games. They beat Missouri S&T, right?
They did. They actually did.
Which I don't know how good they are this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure, actually. I haven't really seen enough, right? It's week 2.
Yeah, it's week 2. And
then their week 1 loss was to Slippery Rock. Who's a top 25
They're
squad.
always a good squad.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an interesting game.
Agreed. I'm actually pretty excited about that game, and definitely some new faces for Wayne State that have been contributing. I guess there was a 31-24 win at home over Missouri S&T, and just taking a look into that box score a little bit for the Warriors, and you had 2 faces play a bit of quarterback, that being Eli McLean and Jaden Waddle, and they only threw the ball 11 times in that game.
Did you
boys.
say Jalen Waddle?
Jaden.
Oh, Jaden.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
that would have been crazy. We talking about Taysom Hill playing
Taysom
D2
Hill's
and
playing.
both of them. They threw the ball combined 11 times between the 2 of them, excuse
That's
me.
crazy.
Are they splitting reps?
It would appear so. They McLean had 5 throws and then Waddle had 6.
It appears neither one of them throw the ball well.
They had
they might
they had a
just run the
touchdown.
ball,
They had a touchdown apiece. Waddle threw a 57-yard touchdown pass. Looks like, I don't know if that was a screen or a deep ball, right? But the rushing attack is where they've been able to get things going. Kendall Williams is a name that we know from last year. I think it was a second-team all-conference GLIAC selection out of the backfield there. He's a smaller, shiftier guy, explosive plays, can get out in the receiving game. But DeMarco Singleton is a name that I'm not as familiar with. He had 10 rushes for 110 yards and a touchdown. He had a long of 68. Again, a name that I don't know a whole lot about. Not sure where he's from, but
Good stats though.
hello, DeMarco.
Yeah,
Kind of a big game from the kid there. But receiving wise, not too much going on. Wow. Tavion Warren, 3 catches, 105 yards though. That's something.
Yeah.
And only 11
For a team that threw the ball 11 times to have 100 yards as a receiver is crazy.
Well, he obviously had the 57 yard.
He did have the 57. That's a great deduction.
What did they?
I'm not a mathematician.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty good.
I ain't no math major. What they stat wise? What they put up? What rushing? I mean, they had to run the ball then. So what they put up rushing?
Oh, I just closed the box score, but it was around 200 yards, I believe. It wasn't anything insane, but it was a pretty good showing on the ground. Now, last game for us guys here: Hillsdale at Ashland. 2 teams that are technically unranked, but Ashland, you talk about a team that has been extremely competitive, and I put here in my notes like easily the best 0-2 team in the country right now. Like, no question.
Well,
they lose.
Yeah.
They lose a really close one to, I believe at the time, it was number 16, IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, 17-24. It was a last-minute touchdown from IUP that put them ahead in that one. And then you got number 1, Ferris State in town. You lose that by 10 points. You're leading at halftime. For an Ashland team with a new head coach, a new quarterback, like, if you came out and win both those games, it's not really a surprise to lose those games. Ashland still probably picked to run the table, I would assume, in the GMAC. I guess we'll see this week, huh?
I mean, it's either them or Tiffin.
Right?
I mean, that's how it basically has been for the past how many.
And they actually have Tiffin not this weekend, but next week. That'll be a big matchup.
Yeah. Well, Hillsdale might be on a revenge tour, though. They did get beat 45-10? 45-20?
Yeah, I mean, at Michigan Tech.
Yeah, they might be on a little, having to drive back. It was at home. It was at Michigan Tech, too.
Hillsdale is on the road again, though, at Ashland.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that far of a drive.
There might be a little fire there.
There might be. Yeah. There definitely might be, boys. Finally, though, a couple stories on the D2 side of things. I wanted to talk about this quarterback who had a ridiculous stat line this past weekend. I don't know how I missed this, from Findlay University. Alec Bornhorst here. This guy, man. Look at that. 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown. It says the first player in program history to run, throw, and catch touchdown in a single game.
That's got to be something
for the Oilers,
in everybody's. There's no way people have done that before.
Right?
That's a different quarterback than those at Findlay. This is his first year starting, isn't it?
I think so. And shout out to him. Have a game like that right off the bat. That is so sweet. So this is just kind of a shout out to him, but like, I almost want to go through and like dig up some video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what did his catch? Was it a trick play? Was it one of those like Marcus Mariota where he gets batted and caught back to
his
him?
One passing touchdown was
special.
also his one receiving touchdown.
Wait.
He threw it.
Is that how that could work?
Technically, yeah. Wouldn't that be?
I don't
But
know.
what would he have to? He'd have to hit, I guess, an offensive line's helmet or something.
No, the one with
It
Mariota hit someone's hand and it bounced back to him.
If it gets deflected and caught, it's still a catch.
Oh, these are real questions we need to have.
Now we need to figure it out.
Yeah, we
It
might.
was probably just like a
trick play.
Yeah, trick play.
Philly special would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, but other one's kind of cooler. The other explanation.
It would be really cool.
So, shout out to Alec, man. That's so sweet. That's a really cool accomplishment to have. And then the other piece I had here, guys, one of the last couple here, is the SEAC, the CIAA, to be featured in a December bowl game. The piece, I picked it up from HBCUGameday.com, and talking about it's the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the SEAC. They are announcing their participation in the 2023 Florida Beach Bowl. And that is two outstanding programs, quote, from the SEAC and then the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. It's going to be played on Wednesday, December 13th at Miami's DRV PNK Stadium. What is that?
I don't
You gotta
know.
look it up now.
I might, actually. Do we know off the rip?
I think
Someone has to play there.
I think that's a sweet thing that they do.
No, that is really cool.
I like bowl games. It's
the
pretty
more
cool.
bowl games that they can do for D2, the better, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about, too.
Dude,
like,
what's there only,
for those
2 or 3?
teams,
Only 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's only a couple. But for those teams that aren't making the playoffs but still have
They had a really good year.
really solid showing. Oh, dude, it's I think it's Inter Miami FC's stadium.
Where
you know
Messi
where
plays?
Messi plays?
No way.
That's the stadium. I'm
Oh, really?
Now I
I'm
gotta
pulling
see-
it up.
now I gotta see
I'm
it.
pulling it up. Hold on, give me just a second here. But yeah, it's definitely the it's the place where
Can we
Messi
talk about
plays.
Findlay Oilers being
Why is that
verified?
the lowest resolution picture I have ever seen in my life? Good.
Oh, that'll be really cool though.
Give me a second, guys. I'm finding a better one.
Can we talk about Findlay, the Findlay football program being verified on Twitter?
Did they pay for that shit? Oh, get out. Did they really? I didn't notice that.
I just noticed that. They
That's
might not
not
have paid
good.
for it. They might have got it.
No, you got to pay for it now. But anyways, that's the stadium. It's Inter Miami FC. It's
That'll be
different.
cool.
That'll be so cool.
It's very
That
different.
place, because like those soccer stadiums are so loud.
Yeah. They seem pretty open to me. Like it's not a full bowl or anything. They get loud. Do you think?
Echolocation.
I'd love to go to one of those Messi games. But you ever seen the tickets?
Bounces off the wall. and
Have you ever
comes
seen
back.
those Messi games? How much those tickets
Yeah.
are?
Yeah.
Like $5.30.
I'm surprised I don't put some freaking nosebleeds over in the corner there to get some more money out of people. You know what I mean?
This is D1R Rejects, where we now talk about Lionel Messi.
Yeah, wait, this is a kind of a weird tangent, but that is where they will play the games, which is pretty cool. And there's a 5-day lineup for events that will precede the main event as far as this goes. On Friday, December 8th, there's a celebrity golf tournament. I don't know who the hell is going to be there. Maybe Messi. Maybe Messi. I doubt it.
I'm going to go on one second.
Messi at an HBCU football golf event.
Probably not.
I heard he's going to be at the game. Word in the street.
On Saturday, there's a 5K run. There is a prayer breakfast on the 10th. Is that supposed to be prayer or player? I don't know.
The 10th is no.
It is.
It'll be Sunday,
It's Sunday,
so
so,
yeah,
maybe it is a prayer breakfast. You got a media day, a coaches luncheon, and then fan festival and game day on Wednesday. It's a Wednesday game day into December. That's a lot more football for these guys too. If ever two squads end up
Because
playing
if
in
they
this
don't
game.
make the playoffs, they're done.
Yep.
Oh my God, they're done like November.
Yeah, dude, that's a long time before you play a football game again.
It's
There's
like
no
November
way.
11th.
I mean, there's
That weekend is usually the last weekend.
November 11th. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
Damn.
Northern Michigan's last game.
Imagine waiting around like that. It's like the college football playoff. Like they have all that time.
That's a month.
Yeah. So do you take like a week off
Yeah,
and then
you
get
I feel
back
like
to
you
it?
have to, right?
You have to, and then I bet you only practice 2-3 days a week.
I don't know, though. Maybe, maybe not. But our last piece for today, fellas, this is from South Dakota, the FCS squad. And
I saw
their
this.
specialist team. We'll go ahead and watch it here. This is pretty cool. They went around campus, basically, and surprised students walking around on campus to
Pleaser?
see if they could go and kick a field goal. Is that? I don't think so.
I'm gonna go with
Here you go.
the
Coyote specialist. We're here on campus to see how many of you guys can make some kicks.
Look at this guy. Not bad.
It's a great video.
Isn't this awesome? the most unsuspecting football players too. You know,
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You got 3 seconds. No, come on. Just try to hit it straight. Oh, yes,
Alongside actually like, finishing through like these little games.
yes, dude. Here you go.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Whack.
That's pretty funny.
Pretty cool though. Like you said, like
That's pretty
that is a great video idea of like, you know, that's going to do numbers on social. Like people eat that stuff up, dude. That's pretty cool.
Come on, Mikey Curlin.
Maybe we could take you guys and go around campus and then
What are we gonna do? One-on-ones?
yes, you guys pass it.
That
And
was
we'll
that was Pleaser, by the way.
Was it
He's
actually?
number 40,
Pleaser
he's number
46? That's
Yeah.
pretty cool, dude.
Wait,
Shout out to him.
wait.
That's
Canadian
Pleaser.
Pleasers at
That's
South
Pleaser.
Dakota?
Yeah.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
I did, but I didn't put that together that was probably him long snapping.
Yeah, that's him long snapping.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Is he the starting long snapper there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a thing where I guess they were out of one and he just had to go in and fill a need. So he's a guy that played at Northern D2 and then is now long snapping up there for the Coyotes. Coyotes? Wolves?
Wolves are they're either a
Some
coyote
type
or a
of
wolf.
pack animal.
Something
Maybe
that's
not a thunder wolf though.
not a thunder wolf.
Yeah.
There's
But-
only one of those.
That's all we've got, fellas. We're going to go ahead and cut over to the Division III side of things with Jimmy Martin and keep this thing going, talk about some D3 football previews. Joining me now on the Division III side of things, doesn't need an intro. Jimmy, what's up, dude?
How we doing?
Heard enough intros. We'll just get right into this, man. You had said it before we got on here. Like, there's not a ton of, I guess, marquee, like, top 25 ranked matchups, but that doesn't mean that this week isn't full of, chock full of a ton of really competitive, some rivalry games, still some really good competition.
Yep. Plenty of hostile environments going to be taking host to some ranked opponents this weekend. So definitely some games that have our eyes on for sure.
Love it, dude.
So-
What do you want to start with as far as, breaking down some of these guys goes?
So I'll kind of gradually go up towards like the bigger games, I would say here.
I hear
but,
you.
So our first game here on the Division I Rejects is number 13, Johns Hopkins heads to Salisbury.
Yep.
So Johns Hopkins coming in at number 13. Salisbury is unranked. However, they were number 25 last week, and they lost to Muhlenberg, who is now number 25. So, and that was a close, hard-fought game, and I expect nothing less of this one as well. Johns Hopkins 2-0, going on the road to a team that was just ranked. I mean, this is a big one for both sides, obviously. So
Yeah, absolutely. One of those wins for Hopkins too. Are they the Blue Jays?
yeah,
No, it's like their mascot, but I don't know if it's like their name.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So one of those wins coming over Ithaca, and an Ithaca team that, had a previous, or I should say a preseason All-American quarterback over there in A.J. Wingfield, and an offense that appeared to be at the start of the year, was thought to be very dynamic. Hopkins goes in and gets the win over the Bombers there, and that was kind of like, I think they're, a rival, right? Like that's their statement type win, and now to continue to stack those as they head into maybe a little bit of conference play here and getting some of those continuing to stack chips over there for the Blue Jays.
Yep, absolutely.
Moving on, though, you wanted to talk. I know you're excited about this Aurora and Benedictine game.
Yeah. So number 16, Aurora heads to Benedictine. So Aurora coming in 2-0, went to the quarterfinals last year. Huge season for them and Don Beebe over there in Aurora. And then obviously at Benedictine, right down the road, Benedictine 0-1, but they lost 42-41 last week to Loris. Nail biter, heartbreaker. They're definitely looking to bounce back. And then this one was kind of an interesting one for me because I have guys that I've coached with or been coached by or I played with or vice versa all playing in this game. They all go to throw it deep together, if you will. So definitely something I've been looking at on the D3 scoreboard this week. So
100%, dude. And
Yeah.
Benedictine, kind of an interesting piece here is they had two guys, technically three at quarterback, but two guys splitting the snaps in that week one loss to Loris. Like you said, 42-41. It was a freaking shootout. But you had Hector Gonzalez and then Evan Wadajewski, and they went for 18 and 25 attempts each. Ended up going it was Gonzalez at 162, and then Evan had 156. So really even split there. A touchdown for each of them. Evan had actually two of them. So kind of a split there at quarterback for Benedictine, and then the rushing attack and receiving attack pretty balanced as well. I mean, when you score 41 points, you're going to have a lot of contributors. I guess it kind of makes sense to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Certainly would say so.
For sure. And then you said you wanted to move your way up as far as I would assume we'll talk Whitewater at the end. Do you want to talk Cortland?
Actually, I was going to talk about the Whitewater game first. Okay. Actually,
let's do it. Let's do it. And I know you saw the render we put out today. Obviously, that was the one D3 guy in there. I'll make sure to go back in and edit that over the pod right now. Like that, the hawk coming in with like the little Crusaders walking through the field of grass was sick, dude.
Yeah, no, I reposted that one. That was like, whoa, because you had like said something in the group chat, and I'm like, okay, like let's see what he's got. And then obviously Kobe exceeds my expectations as usual, and just puts out these ridiculous graphics. So we have like 800 likes on that post right now too, by the way.
Yeah, it's doing numbers.
It's blowing up, dude. Yeah, it's blowing up. Yeah. Good. That's good. But so I have number 4 Whitewater, who's 2-0. They in the D1 Rejects game of the week last week against St. John's. Totally just blew them out of the water. But interesting fact, though, St. John's was winning 28-21 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And Whitewater just took it away from them. 35 unanswered points, 56-28 final at Perkins Stadium. Definitely a competitive game through 3 quarters. And then, Whitewater was just turned back into the Whitewater from the mid 2010s again.
Yeah, and I think the biggest piece to support that claim too goes by the name of Tamir Thomas as far as like getting back to that Whitewater. 17 carries, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging over 10 yards a pop. Like that is Whitewater football, dude. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. They got the guys up there to do that this year. Not to say their passing attack wasn't efficient, but they didn't need it to be incredible. Like when you have that ground game going, your passing attack's going to benefit from that regardless. So I think that was what I said earlier this week is like, I think it's safe to say like Whitewater is back and like we can expect every game, every top caliber game you guys are going to have moving forward is going to be an exciting one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And that kind of just goes to show you also, it's like the WIAC is really deep too.
Yes.
Like the WIAC
is there a correct pronunciation?
I believe it's the WIAC. That's what all my teammates and coaches say. So I believe it is the WIAC. Yes.
Okay, because that must be me and my GLIAC. I just get
Yeah, no, for sure. Because that's definitely understandable for sure. Yeah.
Other one though. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, our Division I Rejects Week 3 game of the week is number 22 Susquehanna. I knew I was going to botch that. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, listeners from Susquehanna. There you go. Okay. And then they had 2 number 10 Cortland. Yep. So I don't know if anyone on this podcast listening to this but last week I would have to imagine that Susquehanna had a scoregami winning 6-5. Yes, that is a football score, 6-5. Just a touchdown and a safety, and then obviously Susquehanna had 6 points, and that is more than 5 points. So Susquehanna came out with the victory, and obviously you know what they always say: winning ugly is sweet. You always take a victory, no matter how you can get it. And now they're number 22. So
compare that to Cortland's Week 2 game against Lycoming, where they scored 62.
Yes, and Cortland looks like an absolute powerhouse. They're rolling right now. Sitting at number 10. They cracked into the top 10 this week, averaging 52 points per game.
Yeah.
2
weeks in, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously, Susquehanna giving up only 5 points last week. Their defense must be pretty strong just based on that score there. So, maybe Cortland slows down. We'll see, though. We'll see. Cortland at home, coming off of a huge back-to-back blowout victories, including one against Delaware Valley.
Yes.
This one's going to be interesting. But I think Cortland might have the upper hand because they're at home and this high-powered offense. But Susquehanna has a lot to prove. And I think this is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, very balanced, too. And that's that Del Val game is what I wanted to talk about. They're extremely balanced in that game.
Yeah.
Look at out of the backfield, Jaden Alfonso St. John. It was 27 carries for the kid in that Week 1 game for 170 yards and 1 TUD. His longest run on the day was 18 yards, but he had 170. So he's grinding out yards for them. Super balanced attack with Zach Boyes under center for them. And that team, like you said, the offense is incredibly balanced. They score a lot of points. It will be interesting to see what they do against a little bit of a higher caliber of defense because, yes, Del Val was a pretty prominent team coming into this season, but I don't think their defense was kind of one of their calling cards coming off of last year. I think they relied a lot more on that prototypical offense with our guy Louis Barrios at the helm over there. So to see, for me, the first real test for this Red Dragon offense from Cortland here, to see how they match up against this team, like you said, at home. So it'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Like we said earlier, not as many top 25 matchups this week, but a lot of games to keep your eyes on. Rivalry games. Obviously in last week, Salisbury was ranked 25, so we were a game away from having 3 ranked top 25 ranked matchups again. So, yeah, definitely keep your eye on the Susquehanna at Cortland, and then Whitewater at Mary Hardin Baylor. Is Mary Hardin Baylor going to fall to 0-3? That is the question of the week. Yeah. Like, such a prominent program with just success year after year after year. This is a big one. This is a freaking big one.
One more I had kind of circled here on this, just looking through some of these games, man. Number 17, John Carroll at Baldwin Wallace. For me, that's a big one because that's their opener in conference play, I do believe, correct? Is that the OAC?
Yes.
So you talk about OAC is obviously that's Mount Union's conference just about every year, but these squads, especially John Carroll in particular, Baldwin Wallace has shown some great competition as well. But John Carroll, we talked a lot about Western Colorado and CSU Pueblo kind of trying to be in the driver's seat of the RMAC. I think John Carroll's in a very similar situation. Yes, Mount Union is still expected to win the conference, just like Colorado Mines is expected to win that. But the winner of this game not only is a lock basically for second place, also has a chance to run the table. And then if Mount Union does slip up in a game here or there, or they get them head-to-head later in the year, you just never know. So for me, that John Carroll Baldwin Wallace game is big, not because of only just the second place implications in that conference, but because it's college football, man. Like, teams drop shit all the time, and then all of a sudden you've got a new conference champion in 2023. So,
yeah.
Pretty big.
No, it should be interesting. Obviously, John Carroll's not going to just lay down to Mount Union either. So this should be a huge week. Obviously, prove a game for Baldwin Wallace too. Obviously, but I think there's no reason why either of these teams can't make a push. So.
Yeah, and we can touch on too. We've got number 14 lacrosse coming up to Northern Michigan. Our homecoming this week, Jim.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
That's a big one. I refrained from using that one. I wanted to put that one, but I couldn't get myself to do it. there's something I just like I don't know, because it was D2 and D3. I'm like you might just stick to D3.
This could be.
I saw that one. I'm like, this is big.
This will be a very telling week for Northern. Obviously, coming in, starting 0-2, and now having lacrosse come to town, and it's their homecoming game for Northern under new head coach Shane Richardson, and you want to get that first win with all of your alumni and everyone there that matters. It will be interesting to see, I don't know how much I can say, but if Northern Michigan is at full strength this week and other things going on, but lacrosse, you can say D3 to D2, however you want. In the WIAC, I pronounced it correctly there, you got me. Yep. In the WIAC, you bring a squad like that up, a top 15 squad in the country, and Northern knows, like, this is no pushover. Like, the same way that Ferris is going to Montana right now, like, you are going in there to compete for this game. This is not a game where you just come in and just say you did it, right? So, look, definitely that'll be a very competitive one. We'll see how that ends up.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Should be a really interesting game. Obviously, I'll be cheering on the Cats, because Cross is our conference rival. So
yes, I love it. Otherwise,
we need the Cats to come through for sure.
Yeah, the top three are, North Central is playing Carthage, Mount Union's got Marietta, and then Wartburg's got Buena Vista. So we would expect those to be pretty clear swept games, but sometimes you never know. So I guess we'll figure that out. But I am excited. I didn't really say it earlier in the episode, but we'll be doing our player of the week selections. This week will be our first time doing that. So I'm excited to do that with you, dude. To have a Division III, Division II, and potentially an NAIA player of the week this week from D1 Rejects.
Ooh. Can I make a prediction on the Division III player of the week?
Oh yeah.
I believe it will be Arthur Cox from University of Wisconsin-Stout.
Okay. Little biased, but okay, that's fair. After the performances he's had, it's warranted.
Yeah, we're going to save this clip, and then we're going to play it when Arthur wins Player of the Week with 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Who do you guys have this weekend?
Gustavus Adolphus.
Okay. I got you.
Should be a really, really tough game.
Now, they were a playoff team last year, correct?
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team.
Okay.
We beat them last year on
Okay.
a last second touchdown. You know, it should be a battle. So we're ready to go.
Good stuff, Jim. All right, brother. I appreciate you. We'll be back. You'll help me pick that out, the D3 game of the week and the D3 player of the week for this weekend, man. And we'll get you back on next week, brother.
Right on.
Good.
All right.
Best of luck. See you, my man.
Roll Devils. Roll Devils,
Of course.
baby.
Yeah, throw it up, dude. I'll see you.
Later.